Mic check, mic check. 1, 2. What is this? Shalom, shalom. Akim, Waqatim. Mic check, mic check. 1. So let me turn off my YouTube. Just making sure everything loud and clear. But like and share the video. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm pretty sure everybody subscribed, but if not, share it and tell everybody else to subscribe. This edification can go forth to the nation of Israel and all eyes who see it in the future, you know. But as you can see by the title, we don't go into the artifacts of Israel. I don't have everything listed, but everything is going to be manifested, and it has been manifested through the Spirit to prove that the Israelites existed. The people of the Bible are legit, and the archaeology is going to prove it. And obviously, it corroborates the Bible information as well. So, everybody file in, and we're going to start in a second.
You're a little low on here.
I'm low. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it sounds hella low.
It might be your reception. You said I'm loud and clear. It must be your reception over there, my brother.
Con, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna come right back.
Yeah. Let me see. Maybe I'll wait for him. I'll wait for that brother to come back real quick. Can you hear me better?
Con, it was mine, I guess.
It's all good, my guy. It's all good, my brother. My brethren. But yeah, we gonna start T-minus 2 minutes. You already got what you need pulled up?
Con, I got him.
What did you have a lot or no? Because I got a few. I got quite a few things, you know.
Nah, it was just those Masada ones and the Aztec ones, really.
The Masada one? Okay. All right. Yeah, we can go into that after I'm done. Like I said, I got a lot to go into. But I'm gonna share my screen. Let me see where I want to start. The Deir Alla inscription. Where is it at? Matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all this first. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna show y'all the list that they have. Obviously, it's not everything, but some of the stuff I'm gonna show is on this list. Can they see that? Okay, yeah, they can see that. Cool. Look at this. Obviously, this is what I type in: list of artifacts in biblical archaeology. Some of this stuff. This is some Egyptian stuff. Obviously, we don't. All right, but okay. Let me see. I don't know why it shows this stuff. It's Egyptian hieroglyphs, but this doesn't prove the Israelite stuff. Akkadian kill from it. This ain't our people either. So yeah, Merneptah Stele is the first one on this list that obviously reckons the Israelites in Egypt. And it shows. Well, let me start off here, Salaki. 'Cause I don't have this on my list. I don't have this on my list. I'll just start at this top list. I'll just show me top artifact. This is a Merneptah Stele, Cairo Museum, discovered in 1896 by thieves. The date is 1200 BC, Egyptian hieroglyphs, which is obviously when you were in Egypt. That's why I'm saying this 18 or 2200, 1860. I don't believe that was us in that time period. That's why I didn't want to touch on that. But anyways, this is what it shows in this brief, what's it say, little significance. While alternative translations have been put forward, the majority of biblical archaeologists translate a set of hieroglyphs on line 27 as Israel, such that it represents the first documented instance of the name Israel in the historical record and the only record in ancient Egypt, which I don't agree with. We're going to prove that in a second. Actually, the very next one proves it. That is not true. Well, actually, I know what they mean. The name Israel. So yeah, that's definitely true. But in reference to our people being there, it's definitely not 100% accurate. And actually, let me pull this up. Actually. How to prove that the Israelites were in Egypt. Actually, let me show you. Let's go here. Let me stop this real quick. Shalom Acropolis. Let me share this other one. Let's talk about the Shasu people. Let's see what this says. This is how you know the Israelites were in Egypt. The Shasu people. We're going to go to the archaeology and see what it says. I pointed it out, but I just want to read this part. Everybody says Wikipedia isn't a source, but let's see what it says actually, because it's definitely resources attached to these individual, pieces of information. The Shasu, from Egyptian, probably pronounced Shasu, were Semitic-speaking cattle nomads in the southern Levant from the late Bronze Age to the early Iron Age, or the third intermediate period of Egypt. They were organized in clans under a tribal chieftain and were described as brigands, active from the Jezreel Valley to Ashkelon and the Sinai. Doesn't that look familiar? Some scholars link the Israelites and Yhwh with the Shasu. Why is that? Let's go here. The names, this isn't what I wanted. The earliest known reference to the Shasu occurs in the 15th century BC list of peoples in the Transjordan region. The name appears in a list of Egypt's enemies inscribed on column bases at the Temple of Soleb, built by Amenhotep III, copied later in the 13th century BC, either by Seti or by Ramses II at Amara West. The list mentions 6 groups of Shasu: the Shasu of Sir, the Shasu of Ribbon, the Shasu of I don't know what that says. Shasu of something. Shasu of Yahweh. Shasu of whatever this means. There's 6 different Shasu people. So this is what the Egyptians called them, obviously. But let's prove these are Israelites. Where is it at? This is an artifact, but let me see. Where is it at? 2 Egyptian texts, one dated to the period of Amenhotep III, 14th century BCE, the other to the age of Ramses II, 13th century BCE, which is obviously when we reference the Exodus. We believe the Exodus was around 13th century BCE. Referred to YHW. We already know what that is. Yahoo in the land of the social nomads, in which YHW, also rendered as YHW or Yahoo, is a toponym. But let's go here. Regarding the name YHW, Michael Story observed that the hieroglyphic rendering corresponds very precisely to the Hebrew Tetragrammaton, YHWH, or Yahweh, and it attests the hitherto oldest occurrence of that divine name on the Moabite stone by over 500 years, meaning what? The name Yahweh was carved in Egyptian history way back 500 years before the Moabite stone. Moabite stone was around 900 BC. K. van der Toorn concludes by the 14th century BC, before the cult of Yahweh had reached Israel, groups of Edomites and Midianites worshiped Yahweh as their God, which obviously isn't goddamn true, because they try to say Yahweh was the Egyptian god, or Yah was the Egyptian god, but ain't no damn Edomites, Midianites worship Yahweh. Where's it at? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Oh no, it's the right. It's the right one. Okay. Donald B. Redford has argued that the earliest Israelite semi-nomadic highlanders in central Palestine mentioned on the Merneptah Stele at the end of the 13th century BC are to be identified as a Shasu enclave, since later biblical tradition portrays Yahweh coming forth from Seir, which is in the Bible. The Shasu, originally from Moab and northern Edom, Seir, went on to form one major element in the amalgam that would constitute the Israel, which later established the kingdom of Israel. Per his own analysis of the Elmanar letters, Anson Rainey concluded that the description of the Shasu best fits that of the early Israelites. Plain and simple. The Shasu in Egypt were the Israelites. What else can we conclude from that information? But this is what I wanted to go to. Actually, let me click here. This is what I wanted. The Merneptah Stele. I just clicked on it, right? That's the first one we read. Merneptah Stele, also known as the Israel Stele or the Victory Stele of Merneptah, is an inscription by the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Merneptah, 12 BC, discovered by Flinders Petrie in 1896 at Thebes, and now housed in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. The text is largely an account of Merneptah's victory over the Libyans and their allies, but the last 3 of the 28 lines deal with a separate campaign in Canaan. Then part of Egypt's imperial possessions, the stele is sometimes referred to as the Israel Stele. What the hell? Oh. This guy. Where's that? The stele is sometimes referred to as the Israel Stele because a majority of scholars translate a set of hieroglyphs from line 27 as Israel. Alternate translations have been advanced but are not widely accepted, meaning what? The Israel conclusion on this stele from the Egyptian pharaoh concludes that the Israelites were in Egypt 12th century BCE, and you can't get around it. The stele represents the earliest textual reference of Israel, and the only reference from ancient Egypt. Like I said, the Shasu people, we were called Shasu in Egypt, not Israel in Egypt. But obviously, 1200 BC is when, like I said, right before, 1200 BC is when the Exodus happened, and we became a nation in the wilderness. So obviously, somebody may have, just in my opinion, somebody may have referenced the Median Israelites as they were becoming a nation Israel, and this pharaoh obviously had the wherewithal to write about it. Let's see. It is one of the 4 known inscriptions from the Iron Age that date to the time of and mention ancient Israel under this name. The others being the Merneptah Stele, the Tel Dan Stele, and the Kurkh Monolith. We're going to get into all those in a second. As a result, some consider the stele to be Petrie's most famous discovery, an opinion with which Petrie himself concurred, obviously, because the Israelites run the world. The history of the Bible, everything that you can think of in reference to just biblical history is all relevant to today's time, because the Bible in reference to just Israelites is the most popular book on the earth, period. And the history is going to prove that we existed. Obviously, everybody wants to say, oh, you guys weren't the first nation, which is fine. We don't have to prove that. But we became a nation. We became a prominent people. And we got destroyed, obviously, based on the prophetic knowledge of the book. And this just goes to show we existed over time. Like, we're going to get into it. Let me take that down. And let me go here. I didn't want to start there, but that was pretty much a good starting point. We're going to start at the Deir Alla inscription right after we left Egypt. Let's see here. Where is it at? Oh, here we go. Can y'all see that? Cool. The Deir Alla inscription. Let's go here. The Deir Alla inscription. Let's see what this says. The Deir Alla inscription are Balaam, son of Beor. Who knows who Balaam, son of Beor is? Kashab?
Nah.
What? All right.
That just reminds me of the dude from Numbers. Is that the same dude?
Do you think it is?
Like, man, what I think and what I know is two different things, man. I don't know.
Listen, Balaam Peor. Who's that sound like? Yes, this guy can't hear me. Anyways, let's just go here. Let's see what it reads. The excavation revealed a multiple chamber structure that had been destroyed by an earthquake during the Persian period, on the wall of which was written a story relating visions of Balaam, son of Beor, or seer of the gods, who may be the same Balaam mentioned in Numbers 22 to 24. Those are chapters, and other passages in the Bible. The Deir Alla inscription describes Balaam in a manner which differs from that given in the book of Numbers. Balaam's god is associated with the goddess Ashtar, which is obviously the god of Canaan, which is Moab was around. A god named Shagar and Shaddadian, perhaps meaning gods and goddesses, is also featured, or it also features the word Elohim, perhaps with different vowels, like, I don't know what that means, taken to mean gods in the plural rather than the Hebrew deity. But obviously, Elohim isn't a deity, it's just a plural name meaning gods, like they just said, though I don't know why they said that. Anyways, the Oxford Handbook of Biblical Studies describes it as the oldest example of a book in the West Semitic language written with an alphabet and the oldest piece of Aramaic literature. Obviously, we know these people wrote in the Canaanite language, so I don't know why they said that either, but I know why they did it. But let's just keep moving. Though containing some features of Aramaic, such as the word bar, son of Beor, rather than the Canaanite ben, it also has many elements of Canaanite languages, which is what I'm telling you, which is a Paleo-Hebrew, leading some to believe it was written in a dialect of Canaanite rather than an early form of Aramaic. Facts. Aramaic didn't come until later. The inscription has been dated to 880 to 770 BCE. It was painted and inked on fragments of a plastered wall. Red and black inks were used, red apparently to emphasize certain parts of the text. In all, 119 pieces of ink inscribed plaster were recovered. The wall near the summit of the Tel was felled by a tremor, which means it was destroyed. Let's go down here. References, obviously, there's more references, but that's pretty much it. It tries to say, it describes them much different from the book of Numbers, but where does it say that? Where's the actual breakdown? Like, why does it say that? The text in modern Hebrew letters is available online. The text is difficult to read and to interpret. Here's one of the reconstruction and translation of the text. Because obviously, if they're saying this is it portrays him in a different light, obviously it was written by him. Why would it be translated, or excuse me, not translated, but portrayed in a same light as Numbers 22? Because he was an enemy of Israel at the time. He was trying to curse Israel. So I can agree with that. But seer of the gods, he was a seer. He was, quote unquote, a prophet that the Most High used at that particular time. But it's neither here nor there. He was a heathen, but this just proves that he existed along with the big biblical narrative, and that's all we wanted to. That's all I wanted to point out in that particular artifact. Now, let's keep moving. What's the next one? Oh, hey, here we go. A very powerful artifact coming right your way. The Khirbet Qeiyafa inscription. Let's read about this. Oh, am I going too fast? Obviously, you can look this information up as you can see it. Like I said, the archaeology is there. This is just more of a detail of what the artifact is about. So, and we can show each artifact as well. Let me see. Salakia. So, Khirbet Qeiyafa inscription. It says Hebrew, Arabic. Obviously, that's not true. It's written in Hebrew, also known as Eli Fortress in the Hebrew as Khirbet Qeiyafa, is the site of the ancient fortress city overlooking the Eli Valley and dated to the first half of the 10th century BCE. Wait a minute. That's what, 1000 BCE, right? Right after we left Egypt. We left Egypt around, like I said, 12th, 13th century. The ruins of the fortress were uncovered in 2007 near the Israeli city of Beit Shemesh, 30 kilometers from Jerusalem. It covers nearly 2.5 acres. That's not what I don't read. Let me see. Let me see. A number of archaeologists, mainly the two excavators, Yusuf Garfunkel and Sar Ganor, have claimed that it might be one of two biblical cities, either Sharaim, whose name they interpret as two gates because the two gates discovered on the site, or Netaim, and that the large structure at the center is the administrative building dating to the reign of King David, where he might have lodged at some point. Obviously, we know King David lived around 1000 BC, 900 BCE, because we know King Solomon lived around 900 BCE. And obviously he was 40, 50, maybe 60 years older than Solomon, or before Solomon ever lived or reigned. This is based on the conclusions that the site dates to the early Iron 2A age, 1025 to 775 BCE, a range which includes a biblical date for the biblical kingdom of David. Others suggest that it might represent either a North Israelite, Philistine, or Canaanite fortress, a claim rejected by the archaeological team that excavated the site. The team conclusion that Khirbet Qeiyafa was a fortress of King David has been criticized by some scholars, but has been validated by the Israel Antiquities Authority. Meaning what? This was the city of David. And you can see by the map over here on the right, Jerusalem's right there. But it's Solomon, this is just a fortress. So obviously this is something that he took refuge in during wars, things like that. Where does it say? Man, I just had it. Wait a second. This isn't everything that I had. Hold on real quick. Oops, this isn't it either. See? Yeah, this isn't what I wanted. Salakia. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. I'm trying to find the actual artifact. Salak. Let me see. Where is it at? Oh, here it is. I don't know why I showed that madness. All right. This is what I wanted to show. This is a couple of pictures. This is the Khirbet Qeiyafa inscription. Can y'all see that? Okay, cool. All right. has this. This is the rendition of it because this is the actual artifact that they found. They probably just made it lighter so you can see the letters, things like that. What does it say here? That's not what I wanted either. As you can see, the archaeology. I want to show, or I want to explain what it says though. Where's it at? Because it's actually Numbers, the 6th chapter. Your phone breaking up. I can't hear you.
On there, what?
Huh? I can't hear you, my brother. You need to go out and come back in. Yeah, go out and come back in. Cause your Taco Bell Wi-Fi is not cutting it, my guy.
Terrible, bro.
There you go.
That's some terrible.
You're still messing up.
Hold on.
Huh?
Hold on, I'm gonna try to move.
Yeah, go ahead and do that, my guy. Me on Rush, me on Looney. Are y'all some pros? Because I will block you and put you in timeout. I don't have time for it.
Con, can you hear me now?
Come.
All right, Con.
You good?
Con, yeah, I'm trying to hear what that says, man. Like, what they got, the Nazarite stuff on there, or what they got on there? The blessing?
Yeah, it's a blessing. It's the blessing part. They gave Moses and Aaron. Let me see. Man, where's it at? Oh no, that's not it. Let me see if it says it here. It doesn't say it here either. Dang, where's it at? Let me see. I think this might be it. Hold on. I just want to show the proof. You know, nothing too crazy. Salaki, y'all. I might just continue and look for it while I'm doing something else. All right, yeah, let's just move forward. Because this is also the one that was on the list that I showed y'all at the beginning of more artifacts. So let's go back here, and I'll go back to the Qeiyafa inscription in a second. So this is the next one, Bubastite Portal. And as you read earlier, it's from Egypt. So this is more proof that Israelites obviously were familiar with the Egyptian pharaohs and things like that. So let's just read this information. The Bubastite Portal Gate is located in Karnak within the precinct of Amun-Ra temple complex between the temple of Ramses III and the second pylon. It records the conquest and military campaigns in 925 BC of Shashak, the first of the 22nd dynasty. Shashak has been identified with the biblical Shishak, such as the relief is known as Shishak inscription or Shishak relief. So, where is this found? In the Bible. Let's go. Oh, no, this isn't it. My bad. This is Second Chronicles 12. Second Chronicles 12 and 1. And let's just see what it says. You know, nothing too crazy. Well, I'll go back to this in a second.
Con, I got it. You want me to read that?
Yeah, go from 1 to 1 to, well, I'm gonna share my screen anyway. Let me just share my screen.
Con.
Yeah, 1 to 9.
Con. So this is Second Chronicles 12 and 1. And it came to pass.
Right. Shishak of Egypt invades Judah. Wait a minute. Didn't it just say that in the archaeology? It says, let's read this again. Shishak has been identified with the biblical Shishak, such that as a relief. It records the conquest and military campaigns in 1920 or 925 BC of Shishak, which is an Egyptian person or a figure. But let's go ahead and read that now.
Con. It says, and it came to pass when Rehoboam had established the kingdom and had strengthened himself, he forsook the law of the Lord and all Israel with him.
Exactly. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that in the 5th year of Rehoboam, Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem. Because they had transgressed against the Lord.
Exactly. Isn't that what it says in this artifact? This is an Egyptian artifact, not an Israelite artifact, but it's referencing the conquest that his king made in Israel. So let me see. Where is it at? Keep reading so I can go ahead.
Con, with 1,200 chariots and 70,000 horsemen, and the people were without number that came with him out of Egypt, the Lubims, the Sukkims, and the Ethiopians.
Read.
And he took the fenced cities which pertained to Judah and came to Jerusalem. Then came Shemaiah, the prophet of Rehoboam, and to the princes of Judah that were gathered together to Jerusalem because of Shishak, and said unto them, Thus said the Lord, Ye have forsaken me, and therefore have I also left you in the hand of Shishak.
Exactly, that's what happened. The Most High said, if we forsook His law, He gonna bring somebody against us. The Egyptian people weren't no different, along with the Moabites, Edomites, the Syrians, everybody else said that Most High said it as our enemies. He sent us against them, even though he was already enslaved to the Egyptians years before that. He sent them against us even still at that time. Meon Rush, what are you talking about? Why do you keep saying random stuff? Go ahead.
Verse 6. Whereupon the princes of Israel and the king humbled themselves, and they said, The Lord is righteous. And when the Lord saw that they humbled themselves, the word of the Lord came to Shemaiah, saying, They have humbled themselves, therefore I will not destroy them.
Read.
But I will grant them some deliverance, and my wrath shall not be poured out upon Jerusalem by the hand of Shishak.
Exactly. He's not going to let them destroy the basically chief city of Israel. Jerusalem is the headquarters, the capital per se of the whole land. And the Most High allowed him to, destroy a little bit, but he's not going to destroy the major cities. Go ahead. Or the capital. Go ahead.
Nevertheless, they shall be his servants, that they may know my service and the service of the kingdoms of the countries.
Exactly. They're not going to let us serve these Egyptians again. They're going to become our servants. Read.
Khan. So Shishak, king of Egypt, came up against Jerusalem and took
Uh-huh.
away the treasures of the house of the Lord.
Go ahead.
Khan, and the treasures of the king's house he took all. He
Mm-hmm.
carried away also the shields of gold which Solomon had made.
Yeah, he just robbed us. He couldn't take us over completely, but he just took our spoils and kept it moving. It's still a bad circumstance, but he didn't allow us to get conquered in a sense at that time. Obviously, later on, we know what happened, but we don't get into that as well because there's information on that. So let's go. It's a lot. Let's go to the next one. So that's just an artifact to show the Israelites existed out from another source that's not directly from us. That was the objective going there. Let's go to another one, a very powerful one, the Kurkh Monoliths. The Kurkh Monoliths. Can y'all see that?
Khan.
I think I'm sharing. Sharing? Okay, cool. The Kurkh Monoliths. Let's read what this is about. The Kurkh Monoliths are two Assyrian stelae, so it's not from Israel. These are from Assyrians that contain a description of the reigns of Arshanuppal II and his son Shalmaneser. Doesn't that ring a bell? Doesn't the King Shalmaneser ring a bell, Kashab?
Khan, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. This is from the Assyrian history and their archaeology, proven Israelites. But let's just keep reading. The monoliths were discovered in 1861 by British archaeologist John George Taylor, who was a British consul general stationed in the Ottoman Eyalet of Kurdistan in a town called Kurkh, which is now known as Yusuftepe in the district of Bismal. I don't care about that. The Shalmaneser III monolith contains a description of the Battle of Kurkh at the end. The description contains the name Ahabu Sirallah, which is generally accepted to be a reference to Ahab, king of Israel. Ahab is what? From the northern kingdom. Although it is only reference to the term Israel in the Assyrian and Babylonian records, which usually refer to the northern kingdom as the house of Omri, a fact brought up by some scholars who dispute the proposed translation. It is also one of the four known contemporary inscriptions containing the name of Israel, the others being the Merneptah Stele, Tel Dan Stele, and Meshach Stele, which is what reference when I clicked on the Merneptah Stele, it says the same thing. These are the four main steles that reference Israel that weren't people that were Israelites. That's what it's talking about. This inscription is also the oldest document that mentions the Arabs, which is obviously Ishmael's people. According to the inscription, Ahab committed a force of 2,000 chariots and 2,000 foot shows to the Assyrian war coalition. But that's not the point I wanted to make. The point is, it mentions the Israelites by name, or King of Israel by name, from a different source that's not from us. Back in, what was it, the name, or the, not name, but the time frame, 852 and 879 BCE. That's before we got conquered. Sorry, this is Ahab is the southern kingdom, Salak.
It's crazy. When they found some stuff on I forget which stone it was. It says something House of David on it, and they were like, okay, maybe this biblical character is true, right? But there's these stones like this that talk about other kings that the Bible talks about.
It's like I was saying, Ahab is from the northern kingdom, like I said, Salakia. I'm thinking of Ahaz. Salak. Go ahead.
Khan. But here's this other stone talking about characters that the Bible talks about, and they don't even question if those people actually existed or not. But when it's biblical characters like Israelite characters, they question everything, even though the Bible talks about these people doing this stuff too.
Exactly. It's just, I mean, obviously people believe in the Bible per se, but the archaeology sometimes isn't enough. I don't know why it's not, because like I said, this isn't even an Israelite artifact. This is an Assyrian artifact back in the 9th century, 10th century BCE, before we were conquered, before, I mean, obviously this is after King David and King Solomon, I believe. This is after the kingdom split. So it's just like, why do people want to play games with the with the archaeology now? Isn't that the eyewitness, the archaeology and the pottery, things like that, manuscripts? But where am I at? As you can see, that's the artifact right there, more in detail. Let me see. Well, that's it as well down here. But this is what they translated to on there, and I'm not gonna read that part. So let's just keep it moving, keep this thing on a roll. You feel me? Let's go to this next one. Let's see if you're familiar with this, which is another artifact, not from our people. Black. Oh, that's not what I want. Yeah, the Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III, the same person. This is another artifact from the Assyrian kingdom, referencing the Israelites. Let's just read this. The Black Obelisk of Shalmaneser III is a black limestone Assyrian sculpture with many scenes in bas relief and inscriptions. It comes from Nimrud, which is a city in northern Iraq, and commemorates the deeds of King Shalmaneser III, reigned from 858 BC to 824 BC. It is on display at the British Museum. Let's just read the next part. It is one of two complete Assyrian obelisks yet discovered, the other one being the much earlier white obelisk of Ashurnapur I, and is historically significant because it is thought to display the earliest ancient depiction of a biblical figure, Jehu, king of Israel. Oh my goodness. When was this? 800 BC, right? Jehu, obviously, is the king of Judah. We'll go into the history on that a little bit. Let me get why do I keep going here? Give me 2 Kings 10 and 31. Slot, give me 1 Kings 20 and 34. Because I was meant to do this for the Kurkh Monolith, Salakia. The Kurkh Monolith. I actually got rid of that one.
Okay.
But let me see if it's on here, as a matter of fact. Okay, the first, Kurkh Monolith. So yeah, I'm gonna share this first, just to reference it back.
Okay, you said 1 Kings 20 and 34?
I said 1 Kings 20 and 34.
Okay.
Let me go here so the audience can read along. Well, actually, let me see. How long is this? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and read that.
This is 1 Kings 20 and 34.
Mm-hmm.
And Ben-Hadad said unto him, the cities which my father took from thy father I will restore, and thou shalt make streets for thee in Damascus, as my father made in Samaria. Then said Ahab, I will send thee away with his covenant. So he made a covenant with him and sent him away.
Exactly. So what is that referencing? The king of Assyria. The king of Assyria. Salak, and the king of Israel was in league together. This is obviously, like I said, before 722, before they conquered us. So the northern kingdom made a league with the Assyrians to go against the southern kingdom. That's what it's talking about. So the very next piece of archaeology, which is what I wanted to go to, this is what I was referencing first, the Black Obelisk. I had the Black Obelisk out here, didn't I? Where's that shit at? Oh, here it is. The Black Obelisk. like I said, it mentions who? Jehu, king of Israel. The traditional identification is Yah as Jehu has been questioned by some scholars who propose that the inscription refers to another king, Jehoram of Israel. Reference to Parsu is also the first known reference to the Persians. Tribute offerings are shown being brought from identifiable regions and peoples. It was erected as a public monument in 1825 BC at a time of civil war in the central square of Nimrud. It was discovered by archaeologist Sir Austin Henry Layard in 1846. It's now in the British Museum. But this is the main point. If you, well, I don't know if you can see it. Actually, I'm gonna go down here, right here. Can y'all see this? Jehu bows before Shalmaneser III. This is the only portrayal we have in ancient Near Eastern art of an Israelite or Judean monarch. That's what it's talking about. He made a league with him because obviously he was beefing with the southern kingdom after Solomon, was beating the hell out of him. So he made a league with the Assyrians. This is Jehu bowing down to the Assyrian king, showing that he was subservient to him. But that just goes to show, obviously, that's how the brotherly love was going at that time, and our people were just bugging the hell out. So, like I said, that's just another Assyrian artifact, mind you, showing that we existed, our kings existed, and we was still we're like I said, we were people long after people tried to say we weren't. So let's see. Is that all I wanted? Matter of fact, let me see if I can zoom in on this one. Bam. Y'all see that? Okay, cool. Yeah, I can see that. Bro, this dude's about to get blocked. I don't got time for this. But anyways, y'all can see the King Jehu. Go read Salat. Read 2 Kings 10 and 31. That's what I want for this one. Kashab.
Khan. 2 Kings 10 and 31. It says, But Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord God of Israel.
Exactly. So
with all his heart.
Exactly. So he's making league with the Assyrians because he's not being right. He's being wicked as hell as a king. That's why Northern Kingdom got taken down first. They was wicked as hell. They was building all type of altars and things like that, And the Most High made sure, okay, you want to go against the grain and go against your own people? Later on down the line, hey, we're going to have the same people you join league with conquer you. Go ahead.
Sheesh. For he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Israel to sin.
Slack, this is Slack. Jay was the king of Judah. So he was beefing with Ahab because Ahab, like I said, made a king, Slack made a league with I apologize. I misspoke earlier. Ahab had made a league with the king of Damascus, and Jehu. I apologize. In the Kurkh Monolith, Ahab joined league with Damascus to go against Assyria, and then Jehu, king of Judah, was beefing with Ahab, and then he made a league with Assyria. So they was beefing, like I said, they joined with two heathen nations contrary to each other just to go to war. Where are we at? Is that it?
Con, that's it.
Yeah, read that again, Salakia.
Con. This is 2 Kings 10 and 31. It says, But Jehu took no heed to walk in the law of the Lord God of Israel with all his heart. For he departed not from the sins of Jeroboam, which made Israel to sin.
Exactly. Wicked king after wicked king at this time. We was going the hell off. And then that's why we linked up with these damn heathens. Let's get the next one. A popular one. The Tel Dan inscription. This is a more popular artifact. Let's see if everybody can see that. The Tel Dan inscription. When was this discovered? Let's see. Discovered in 1993. But when was it dated? The 9th century still, 9th century BC, almost 3,000 years ago. Let's read about it. The Tel Dan Stele is a fragmentary stele containing a Canaanite inscription, which is obviously Paleo-Hebrew as well, discovered in 1993 in Tel Dan by Gilad Cook and the member archaeological team. Let's just keep going. Stele is in several pieces and contains several lines of Aramaic closely related to Hebrew and historically a common language among Jews. Yeah, we spoke Paleo-Hebrew in 9th century. I'm sorry. So they try to say it's Aramaic, but no. It is Paleo-Hebrew. The surviving inscription, which dates to 9th century BC, details that an individual killed Jehoram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, and the king of the house of David. These writings corroborate passages from the Bible, as the second book of Kings mentions that Jehoram, also Joram, is the son of an Israelite king, Ahab, by his Phoenician wife Jezebel. Applying a biblical viewpoint of the inscription, the likely candidate for having erected the stele is Hazael, an Aramean king whose language would have thus been Aramaic, who is mentioned in the second book of Kings as having conquered the land of Israel, though he was unable to take Jerusalem. The stele is currently on display at the Israel Museum, as is known as Kai 310. So that's the main point. Hazael, let's see who this is. This person is in the Bible. Is that written down? This is a heathen. This is a heathen writing it, Salakia, so it might have been Aramaic, because it's talking about them conquering Israel, Salakia. So that's what it's talking about. But obviously, like I said, I don't think Aramaic was around this time. But either way, this is proof that the Israelites existed. It mentions biblical characters, and also it still references one of the four major inscriptions, like I said, Merneptah Stele, Merneptah Stele, and Kurkh Monoliths from heathens, referencing Israelites by name, the name Israel by name as well. Let's see. Hope everybody's following along, liking, sharing, and subscribing. Like I said, this is just simple information you can look up. I'm actually going to share a video that Chief did about this years ago when he was on Sinet's channel, I believe.
So I guess it's hard to see. That's what I'm saying right there too. And that same thing that it's saying, it says Bayat the Wad on the words that it has on there, but then it says on that sentence right there, it says, however, the stele is generally accepted by scholars as genuine. Like, how is it only some scholars that accept it when it literally says, like, bro, they be really trying to fight that, man.
Exactly.
It's like find a Canaanite with the name David, the Wad on there, man. Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Where am I at? Look, the following is a transcription using Hebrew letters provided by Burin and Neve, dot separated words as in the original. Empty square brackets indicate damaged missing text, and text inside square brackets is reconstructed by. So yeah, this is a Paleo Hebrew. They're trying to say it's Aramaic, but look, it's literally saying it's Hebrew letters in here. This is Hebrew right here. I don't know why they're saying it's Aramaic. It's ridiculous. Like I said, Aramaic wasn't around in the 9th century at the time. We weren't speaking it for sure. We were speaking after Babylon, but Obviously, that was 600 BC, 300 years later almost. All right, let's keep moving. We will go to more Assyrian artifacts. Isn't that ironic? Let's go here. The Lachish reliefs. That's viewable. Okay. Okay, yeah, that should be fine. The Lachish reliefs are a set of Assyrian palace reliefs narrating the story of the Assyrian victory over the kingdom of Judah. Wow, interesting. During the siege of Lachish in 700 BC. Isn't that when the northern kingdom got taken down? Of course it is. Carved between 700 and 681 BC as a decoration of the southern and west palace of Sennacherib and Nineveh in modern Iraq, the relief is today is the British Museum in London and was included as an item 21 in the BBC radio. That's what I went. Interpretation. This is what I wanted. Okay. The events surrounding the conquest of Lachish are recorded in an unparalleled number of sources for the 8th century BC in the Hebrew Bible. Ooh, wow, ain't that crazy? In the Hebrew Bible, this is information that is proving that this happened from the Assyrian perspective. Wow. Let's see. The Lachish reliefs Assyrian cuneiform prisms, and in the archaeological excavations of at Lachish, Sennacherib's conquest of Judean cities without the capital Jerusalem are mentioned in the Bible, the Book of Kings, Book of Chronicles, and in the Book of Isaiah. Let's get that. Let's see. 2 Kings 18 and 13.
Is that 18 and 13?
Yeah.
This is 2 Kings 18 and 13. It says, now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, come up against all the fenced cities of Judah and took them.
Exactly. He took the cities of Judah. But what else does it say? Where is it? Oh, here, right here. So this is like I said, the Assyrians, after they obviously conquered the northern kingdom, they went to attack Judah. But what happened? Did the Judites go into Assyrian captivity? No, because at the time they were still a little more righteous than the northern kingdom. So the Most High didn't allow the most powerful country in the world, our kingdom in the world, which were the Assyrians at the time, that took down the Babylonians. The Most High didn't allow them to conquer Judah, because we didn't go down until the Babylonians came back. You know? But let's keep reading. Later, when Sennacherib, king of Assyria, and all his forces were laying siege to Lachish, he sent his officers to Jerusalem with this message for Hezekiah, king of Judah, and for all the people of Judah who were there. 2 Chronicles 32 and 9. But it also says, now it came to pass in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, the Sennacherib, king of Assyria, came up against all the fortified cities of Judah and took them. So, like I said, he took some cities, but he didn't conquer the capital, like I said before, just like the other Assyrian did. 900 some BC. In his annals, Sennacherib claimed that he destroyed 46 fortified cities and towns of Judah and took 200 or 150 captives, although the number of captives is seen today as widely exaggeration. He also claimed that he besieged King Hezekiah of the Judah in Jerusalem like a bird in a cage. Rabbi and the other scholars today consider the city pictured on Lachish relief to be Jerusalem. They point out that since Jerusalem was not captured by the Assyrians, which is what I referenced, the artists from Nineveh who carved the relief added simply Lachish instead of Ursulum, Jerusalem. Other authors point out that the siege of Jerusalem is not depicted on Lachish relief because it resulted in failure, and the relief was seen as a way of compensation for not conquering Jerusalem. Exactly what I said. And Most High didn't allow them to be conquered by Assyria at the time. because the North Kingdom was being so wicked as hell, they already took them down. It wasn't going to allow the whole kingdom to be taken down by the same people. And obviously that's all prophecy as well, because, Northern Kingdom came over here after they went to Assyria. That can be proven as well by history and archaeology, and Kashab's going to touch on that in a second. I can touch on that as well, but he got a little more insight on things I haven't pulled up. And that's pretty much all I wanted. Let me read the last sentence. The size of the relief is positioned in the central room of this palace, and the fact that the Lachish relief constitutes the only battle portrait created by Sennacherib indicate the importance he gave to this battle and presumed victory over Judah. So he wanted to gas himself up because he conquered some cities of Judah, but he didn't conquer the whole relief or conquer the whole city or the kingdom, basically the capital, like I said before. But he wanted to make it seem like that he did it by putting the capital city on the archaeology that's painted there or carved there. So damn heathens always lying, And that's it on that one. Let me see.
I don't know if you have the Chief Joseph stone on there, because that's some.
No, I don't. I don't got nothing. I don't got nothing in America. I don't got nothing in America.
Oh, okay.
All the information I'm going into is from the Near East. So let's keep moving. This is already overkill for some people, But let's go here. This is crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I just found out about this one. Can y'all read this? Shalom, Dante. Siloam Tunnel, also known as Hezekiah's Tunnel. Ooh-wee. This goes hand in hand with the information we just brought out, how the Syrians tried to come in and conquer us after they conquered the Northern Kingdom. But Most High didn't allow it. The newer Siloam Tunnel, Hebrew Khirbet Qeiyafa, is also known as Hezekiah's Tunnel, is a water channel that was carved within the city of David in ancient times, now located at the Arab neighborhood of Siloam in eastern Jerusalem. Its popular name is due to the most common hypothesis that it dates from the reign of Hezekiah of Judah, late 8th and 7th, early 7th century BCE, and corresponds to the conduit mentioned in 2 Kings 20 and 20. Read that real quick.
It's 2 Kings 20 and 20, and it says, "And the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and all his might, and how he made a pool and a conduit, and brought water into the city. And are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah?"
Exactly. He made a conduit, a tunnel, or a conduit is basically another word for like, I don't want to butcher it, but it's basically like something that made a way for water to get there. Let me see. Conduit. Let's just read
like
that.
A pipe.
No. It's not necessarily a pipe, but it's it says a channel for conveying water or the fluid, a tube or trough for protecting electrical wiring. So it's a channel, like I said, it's just a basically like like how you would make a what's the word I'm looking for? God, schlock.
What, like moat or something?
Not kind of like a moat, but like a you dig a pit, like a trench almost. That's what I was saying. Like a trench almost, So let's just keep reading this. According to the Bible, King Hezekiah prepared Jerusalem for an impending siege by the Assyrians. That's what we just read as well. By blocking the source of waters of the upper Gihon and leading them straight down on the west of the city of David. 2 Chronicles 32 and 30. Read that part. Let me read this again. By diverting the waters of the Gihon, he prevented the enemy forces under Sennacherib from having access to water. Ooh-wee, that's powerful. He cut off their water supply, so when they're on the road, they can't drink water, can't replenish their thirst. That's a powerful still.
2 Chronicles 32 and 30.
It
says, "This same Hezekiah also stopped the upper water course of Gihon and brought it straight down to the west side of the city of David, And Hezekiah prospered in all his works.
Exactly. He prospered in all his works by making sure the Assyrians didn't have no water source during the wartime. They want to besiege our cities. Okay, go ahead and try. You're not going to have access to water. So that was
Man, cut his water.
yeah, exactly. That was powerful. That was powerful, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Matter of fact, let me see if there's a picture. Oh, here we go. It's underground tunnel. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find. There's a better picture that I saw actually. This is just on the Wikipedia. Let me see if there's a better picture. Cause I saw a better picture on here. Okay, here it is. Let me share this. Man, this is powerful. I ain't gonna lie. When I read this, I was like, wow, I don't know how I missed this one. Oh no, that's how I went in. Here we go. Hezekiah's tunnel is I can see on this little map right here. It shows where it led, all the way from here to there, or the water source from here to here actually. But here's just a regular picture of it. Like we had, like this is how you know when the Israelites came over to the Americas, they knew how to create aqueducts and get water from underground reservoirs, like all that type of stuff. It's crazy, man. All these pictures, this is where it was. And this is a picture right here. Hezekiah's tunnel. Lord in Christ. Our people was powerful. They was ahead of their time.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, man. We was really ahead of our time as a people. All right. Where am I at? Okay. I think that's all I wanted from that. In fact, let me double check. That's just a picture. That's all I wanted. But like I said, this corresponds with the other information about them attacking us and they didn't succeed. Like I said, it might have been one of the reasons. Also, outside of us being outside of the Jews being more righteous at the time. This next one, as you can see, the Nimrud tablet. We're gonna read this. This is powerful too. The Nimrud tablet, also known as Kalub Palace, is an inscription on a clay tablet dated 733 BC from the reign of Kilgath-Pileser III, 745 to 727 BC, discovered at George Smith, 1873 in Nimrod. The tablet describes the first 17 years of Tilgath-Pileser III's reign and was likely composed in or shortly after his 17th year, his obviously dominion. It contains the first known archaeological reference to Judah. Ooh-wee. The text consists of 50 to 35. The text consists of 50 and 35 lines of inscription on the two main pieces. It is the most detailed of Tilgraph page the third summary inscriptions, and it contains the only known complete building account of Tilgraph III from Nimrud, though it has the identification code of K3751, where K stands for Kuani, usually the library of Ashburnapal, which is obviously more Assyrian people. It was most probably actually discovered at Nimrud, since it was inscribed by the excavators with SE Palace Nimrud. But let's just read what it's about. The most well-known excerpt of the text, including the reference to King Ahaz, written in an inscription as Jehoiachin, is his longer name, of Judah, and translated by the University of Pennsylvania's Renat Project, the Royal Inscriptions of the Neo-Assyrian period, is as below. In all the foreign lands that such and such I received the payment of Kusape of the land, Kamuhu of the land, Shibit of the city of Bilbos, Harem of the land of Tyre, Paris of the city of Carchemish, Enlil of the land Hamath, Panama of the city of Samal, Tarholara of the city of Gurgum, Solom, Mal of the land of Melud, so on and so forth. But it's referencing how basically the Assyrians were conquering people and they were paying tribute to him. That's what it's talking about. He received payment. So when you go down here, Salamanu of the land of Moab, some of the Tinti of the land of Ashkelon, Jehoahaz of the land of Judah. So he was paying tribute to this person, as we read earlier. Let me see if I can reference it. Hold on, where is it at? I'm gonna see reading Slakia. Like I said, we already read how the king of Assyria made a league with the Judites after the northern kingdom made a king with the Damascus. So that's why you read about Jehu bound down to the Assyrians in the other relief that I referenced. Isn't that crazy? It all ties in. Where is this? What relief was that? I don't remember. But anyways, that's just a source, more Assyrian sources referencing the Israelites, kings, for the most part. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull it up. You can't really read it, but that's pretty much what it is. It's not, like I said, a Hebrew artifact, so it's not going to be written in Hebrew. But that's all I wanted to show. Can I get out of this? All right, let me just stop sharing, actually. Oh, I already stopped sharing. It's a lot. Let's keep moving. Doctor said, not a power drill on the site. Yeah, you're talking about the tunnel. Yeah, that's powerful, man. Where am I at now? Okay, here we go. Jehoiachin's rations tablets. Interesting. More archaeology, man. Dante, plenty of people ignoring information, man. It's not a surprise. The information is just too powerful, man. The archaeology speaks for itself. I'm pretty sure there's way more archaeology that's gonna come out over time. When we pass away, dead and gone, Lord willing, like I said, we see this kingdom crumble, but there's gonna be so much archaeology that they probably won't even bring to the surface. First and foremost, we already know how the Vatican get down, but this is just more information that we can just harp on. Like, okay, yeah, we are those people. Our people existed for real, for real. We don't just have to go to the Bible to prove the people existed, but the archaeology just corroborate the Bible along with the other information from outside sources that weren't Israelites, corroborate that these people existed all the way back from 1000 BCE.
And it's like, what do they do with the other names that are on there? Not just the Judah one. Like it talks about Moab, it talks about Edom on there. It's like exactly. They didn't just make those people up.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. That's a great point. All biblical references, all biblical nationalities. Everybody knows about the Babylonians and the Assyrians. That can't be denied. So why deny the Israelites what existed? So let's read this. Jehoiachin's rations. Actually, I got a reference in the Bible. Give me where is it at? 2 Kings 24:10. Jehoiachin's rations tablets date from the 6th century BCE and describe the rations set aside for a royal captive identified with Jeconiah, king of Judah. Tablets from the royal archives of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, were unearthed in the ruins of Babylon that contained food rations paid to captives and craftsmen who lived in and around the city. One of the tablets, Jehoiachin, king of the land of Yehuda, is mentioned along with his 5 sons listed as royal princes. So the kings, even though they were in Babylonian captivity, they were treated a little bit better because they were royal and they were under the Babylonian captivity, and they allowed them to have rations obviously put aside, for them being royalty at that time, even though they were already conquered. So read that part.
Kind of 2 Kings 24:10. At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came up against Jerusalem, and the city was besieged.
Exactly. The city was besieged. So guess what happened after that? The king of Judah, his sons got up out of there, were treated, a little bit better, but they were still in captivity, like I said. So that's why they had this Babylonian source or archaeology. As you can read on the right-hand side, it says the writing was Akkadian language in cuneiform, which is in Hebrew. It was written by us. It was referenced in the Babylonian land because we were captive there. So that's just another source, not directly from Israel, or to me, Israelites, but referencing that we were people that existed, and it's just powerful to know, The next one, oh yeah, this is powerful. What is this? Okay, I already got that one. Okay, yeah, this is a powerful one too. This is one of the better ones actually. I definitely try to show the actual archaeological proof, the physical proof, Slovakia. The Ketef Hinnom scrolls, and we can see there. Just a brief side note. I don't know if you can read that, but let's just read. That's a lot. I didn't mean to do that. But this is just the proof that they were found. That's the actual proof, the archaeological proof. What the hell? Oh, I got added that. Sorry. Slovakia. I just added that for some reason. Where's it at? Wait a second. Did I get rid of that already? The hell? Oh, wow. I don't know what happened. I thought All right. Let me go back here. Ketef Hinnom. Oops. Here we go. Shalom, Karatas R1. Powerful Reubenite. There we go. Let me see if I can see that. Ketef Hinnom scrolls. Very, very powerful piece of work. Let's see when this was written. Ketef Hinnom scrolls also described as Ketef Hinnom amulets, because it's obviously small amulet. Amulet's pretty small. Are the oldest surviving text currently known from the Hebrew Bible, dated to 600 BCE. The text is from the Book of Numbers in the Hebrew Bible and has been described as one of the most significant discoveries ever made for biblical studies. The 2 silver scrolls were uncovered in 1979 at Ketef Hinnom, an archaeological site southwest of the old city of Jerusalem, which were found to contain a variation of the priestly blessing found in number 6. This is what I wanted. The Khirbet Qeiyafa inscription. I'm gonna go back to that as well because I was mentioned reference what that was in context to. The scrolls were dated paleographically to the late 7th or early 6th century BC, placing them in the First Temple period. I already showed you the artifact. Paleo-Hebrew characters. That's what we were speaking. This is pre-Babylon. This is right before Babylon, 586. Let me see. I don't want to read all this. I'm just going to read the significance. The 2004 term described the scrolls as one of the most significant discoveries ever made for biblical studies. Apart from their significance for our knowledge of the development of the Hebrew alphabet, the scrolls preserve the earliest known citations of the text, also found in the Hebrew Bible, and the earliest examples of confessional statements concerning Yahweh. The reference to Yahweh as a rebuker of evil found in later incantations and amulets associated with Israel is evidence that these artifacts were also amulets. Period. We spoke Paleo-Hebrew. This is obviously something that came from the law, number 6, and obviously proves again our people existed that back in the First Temple period, which is obviously before it got destroyed by Babylon. So I got a couple more. I believe. Let me go here. I believe I got 2 more, and then Kashab can deliver his information. Where is it at? Oh, this is even better. Let's see what this says. The Elephantine papyri and Ostraka. Let's see what this is talking about. This is powerful. I ain't gonna lie. This is powerful. The Elephantine papyri and Ostraka consist of thousands of documents from the Egyptian border fortress of Elephantine and Aswan, which yielded hundreds of papyri and Ostraka in hieratic and Demotic, Egyptian, Aramaic, Koine Greek, Latin, and Coptic, spanning a period of 100 years. The documents include letters and legal contracts from family and other archives, and are thus an invaluable source of knowledge of scholars of varied disciplines such as epistemography, law, society, religion, language, and gnostics. These are a collection of ancient Jewish manuscripts. Ooh-wee. So the Jews wrote this, dating from the 5th century BC. So this is after we were conquered. After we got conquered by Babylon, obviously. We were still in Egypt. Matter of fact, I got a scripture on this. Give me 1 Chronicles 13:5. Kashab.
Khan. This is 1 Chronicles 13:5, and it says, So David gathered all Israel together from Shihor of Egypt, even unto the entering of Hamath, to bring the ark of God from Kiriath Jearim.
Exactly. Let's go here. Shihor. Where's it at? Oh, Shihor of Egypt. Which is what? The city in Egypt where we dwelled. The Israelites dwelled. So that's why it's talking about so I'm trying to pull up the Hebrew. Let me see. So let me read this again. It says the Elephantine is what it's hundreds of papyri from extracted heritage from Demotic, Egyptian, Aramaic, Koine Greek, Latin, and Coptic. So we were speaking these languages obviously later on in time, because this is from the 5th century, but I'm just saying, just in reference to the 1 Chronicles 13:5, we were in Egypt way back in David's time. We were living in Egypt way back in that time. So when people try to run to saying, that when the Most High made laws about strangers can't be Israelites, we were strangers way back when we left Egypt still, all the way up until now. Slide, let me go back here. Am I still sharing? Okay, I'm still sharing. Okay, cool. They are a collection of ancient Jewish manuscripts dating from the 5th century BC. They come from a Jewish community at Elephantine, then called BW. Let's see what the Elephantine is in Egypt. Is an island on a Nile forming part of the city of Aswan in Upper Egypt. So this is where they found this. This is where Israelites were dwelling at this time. Hundreds of these Elephantine papyri span a period of 100 years. Legal documents and a cache of letters survived, turned up on the local gray market of antiquities starting in the late 19th century and were scattered into several Western collections. So this is just referencing the Israelites were in Egypt. We were writing back and forth to Israel, to the people that were in Israel. And like I said, we were still in communication with each other from Egypt to Jerusalem, period. Because there's a temple in Egypt, if people don't know. That's what it's talking about. Sheol was where we were dwelling, so we had a temple there. And that's what what's it called? The temple at Alexandria. Alexandria is where they found artifacts, Israelite artifacts there as well. I don't have that here, but let me see. No, that's not what I wanted. Matter of fact, let me just finish this real quick. I got one more. And I'm gonna get the Alexandrian stuff in a second. Oops. Siloam Acropolis. What does an Acropolis mean? Good shot.
What is that, like dead? I know it's something dead.
What is an Acropolis? What does it mean, though?
I don't know. I never heard of that.
It's a cemetery.
Oh, okay.
By definition, it says a cemetery, especially a large one belonging to an ancient city. So this is where we buried our people. You know, we had the buried bones and stuff. We had a necropolis where we buried our bones. So this is what we had outside of Israel. So this is what it's talking about. The Siloam Acropolis. The Siloam Acropolis is the most important cemetery in ancient Judea and is assumed to have been used by the highest-ranking officials residing in Jerusalem. Its tombs were cut between the 9th and 7th centuries BC. It is situated on the rocky eastern slope of the Kidron Valley, facing the oldest part of Jerusalem. Part of the Palestinian village of Siloam was later built atop of the necropolis. So these damn Palestinians built on top of our ancient people bones. Damn heathens. All of the existence of ancient tombs in the village of Siloam have been known since the 19th century. The first careful survey was not performed until 1968. Charles Warren, who was thwarted in his efforts to carry out a full survey of the tombs, and some of which villagers were living, attributed this to the hostile nature of the villagers, whom he described as a lawless set. All the tombs were long since emptied and their contents removed. I wonder why. They were removed. But they don't want people to know those Israelites there, I'm sure. A great deal of destruction was done to the tombs over the centuries by coring and their conversion for use as housing, both by monks in the Byzantine period when they were used as monk cells. And that's not what I want. I don't care about that. The Siloam Acropolis is an archaeological site of major significance in the 19th century. It contains some 40 rock-cut tombs of distinguished caliber, of which most were still preserved by the late 1960s. The inscriptions found on 3 of the tombs are in Hebrew. Ooh-wee. Israelites were there. The architecture of the tombs and the manner of burial is different from anything known from contemporary Palestine. Elements such as entrances located high above the surface, gable ceilings, straight ceilings with the cornice, trough-shaped resting places with pillows, above-ground tombs, and inscriptions engraved on the facade appear only here. The stone benches on which the bodies were laid out and the small square entrance doors are similar to those found elsewhere in Judah. Wow, so this means we were burying people the same way all throughout our history. David Ushishkin believes that the architectural similarity to building styles of Phoenician cities validates the biblical description of Phoenician influence on the Israelite kingdoms. Maybe true, who knows? If the ancient Israelite kingdoms followed the practice of other Western kingdoms, the kings themselves would have been buried within the city walls underneath the royal palace. The scholarly consensus that the royal palace stood on the opposite hill to the west. So that's what it's talking about. Our people buried our ancestors in places that obviously were significant, and that proves obviously that we had a presence there over the course of time. So that's just another point that our people did exist. It says right here, the inscriptions found on The inscriptions found on 3 of the tombs are in Hebrew. So who wrote that? Did the Canaanites write it? Did they bury their people like this? Even though it says the building styles of the Phoenician cities validates the biblical description of Phoenician influence on the Israelite kingdoms. I don't know what influence they would have on us if we had to destroy them for being wicked. I don't know how that works. But anyways, that's pretty much all I have. That was a lot of information. Let me see if I missed anything. Damn, I think I'm missing something earlier, but I don't remember. What was you saying earlier, Kishab?
About what?
You mentioned the artifact in America.
Oh, the Chief Joseph Stone when you were talking about Assyria?
Yeah, the Chief Joseph Stone. Yeah. Let me pull that up. What the hell? Why is it showing houses? That made no goddamn sense. Oh no, here we go. Oh, let me put something else in actually. Because it shows some houses and shit. Like, I don't know what the hell that's talking about. Bro, this is just too powerful, man. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me see. Oh, okay, yeah, here we go. Here we go. Shalom, Deli. Let's read this. Book of Mormon. Don't get bugged out with the Mormon stuff. The Mormons got a lot of information too, because they definitely have some artifacts as well. Because brothers, there was a brother in the SICARII that was a Mormon heavy. Like he told me a lot about the information that they bring, and they got a lot of archaeology because they do believe that the Northern Kingdom was over here. But let's just read this part. Chief Joseph cuneiform in America 4,000 years ago. Because we know, obviously, the Northern Kingdom left Assyria around 7th century BC. So that was definitely, almost 3,000 years ago. So 4,000 years ago, I'm not sure about that, but definitely over maybe 3,000 years ago. For many years, I have known about Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce tribe. I actually have that book here. Oh, yeah, right here. Through the Spirit. Let me see. Chief Joseph. I got the book right here. And the flag of the Nez Perce tribe. Right here. Bam. Right there on this chest got the fringes. And then it's going to talk about his the tablet that he had too. But I'll get into this later on. But yeah, that's the book right there, Chief Joseph. If y'all want to look into it. Not that expensive. But let's just go into this information. I learned in school how brave he was in his forced surrender to the U.S. government. Obviously, he was running from the government for a while. And they finally caught up to him. And I think he was in like Washington or something like that. He was like running cross country, fleeing from him for years. or not for years, but for months, with his tribe trying to survive on a run. But let's just keep reading. I also remember that about a square-shaped stone that was found with him, and that it was very ancient. I recently was reading about Chief Joseph and found some amazing things that tie in with the Book of Mormon geography. It is well established that there are no ancient sheep found in Mesoamerica at the time of the Book of Mormon, but artifacts about sheep have been found in North America. I found it very interesting that on this square-shaped stone was found wedge-shaped characters used in the ancient writing systems of Mesopotamia. Where's Mesopotamia? Over there by Israel, Babylon, things like that, called cuneiform. It spoke about the purchase of sheep and goats for a sacrifice. Wait a minute. They was talking about this way back in Assyria. He got handed down from obviously the Northern Kingdom, more than likely Gadites, that were conquered by Syria, and had that same stone passed down as an heirloom, if you want to call it that. In total, there are 3 artifacts found in the USA with the ancient cuneiform script that have been studied by reputable archaeologists and deemed authentic. They are sale receipts from sheep and goats. Amazing, blow the details. In 1877, the respected leader of Nez Perce tribe surrendered to the U.S. government. At his surrender, the chief thunder rolling down the mountain, known by his Christian name Joseph, presented General Nelson Appleton Miles with a pendant, a 1-inch square clay tablet with writings unrecognizable to General Miles. The writing, which was translated by Dr. Robert D. Biggs, the Syriology professor at the University of Chicago, turned out to be a sales receipt dating back to 2042 BC, which I don't believe, in Assyria. But it is an Assyrian writing, Chief Joseph said the tablet has been passed down in his family for many generations. How would his family come into possession of a nearly 4,000-year-old tablet? According to the chief, they inherited it from their white ancestors. That's a goddamn lie. White ancestors? What the hell are they talking about? That's ridiculous. How the hell are they have white ancestors when they're not even white? Stupid. Other tablets with an Assyrian connection have been found throughout North America. A tablet similar in size and appearance to the Chief Joseph's tablet was found in 1963 in northwestern Georgia near the Chattahoochee River. Like the Chief Joseph tablet, this one was a receipt for the sale of sheep and goats that were to be used in a ceremonial sacrifice. From other information contained on the tablet, it appears to have been created in 2040 BC. One difference is in Georgia tablet was made of lead. So that's pretty much all it was. The dates are way off, obviously. I don't believe that at all. But the main point of this is showing that our people, Israelites, Blacks, Hispanic, Native Americans over in the Americas, mainly this Northern Kingdom information because it's the Gadites, they were in their ancestors were in Assyrian captivity. That's why it was passed down. So when they fled from the Assyrian captivity coming over to America, which is referenced in 2 Ezra 13, which can't be denied. The Gadites were part of that Northern Kingdom mission that came on the boats over here to America years back, not 2040 BCE, because that's ridiculous. We weren't a nation at that time. But the main object in the artifact shows proof that the Native American Gadites were Israelites, and you can't deny the information. Like I said, Dante, this is definitely powerful information. Like I said, can nobody deny the proof Israelites were over in the Americas or are actual people back in living in ancient Israel, things like that.
Tar, you can also grab that the one where it's talking about the Cherokee and the SICARII connection in that one too, between both of them.
Let me see.
That one was powerful. That's crazy.
Let me see. This is actually the same. This is the same. Oh, this is the same website actually. Let me see what it says. Missouri Cherokee tried to proclaim Jewish heritage. Let me read this first. I don't know what this one's saying. This has some bugged out stuff a little bit on that one too. This Talking about some DNA shit. I don't know what the hell it's talking about. Yeah, this is some Mormon shit. I can't read this Mormon shit. They going into some Lamanite shit. Nah, this ain't it. That's not the one. I'm gonna go to a different website. They're trying to tie in some Mormon garbage. Okay, here we go. Oops, here we go. Upside it. Missouri Cherokee tribes proclaim Jewish heritage. The Northern Cherokee Nation of the old Louisiana Territory has recently shocked the world by claiming their ancient oral legends tell of a Cherokee migration made to America from the area known as Masada. Ooh-wee. I'm going to let you go into it after this, Kashab. This startling evidence is being offered to the public by Beverly Baker Northup, whom is a spokesperson for the organization. The evidence offered in support of this connection to Cherokees escaping the mountain fortress of Masada is based in part of what Northup claims the stories passed down from the elders and the similarity between ancient words. Beverly Baker Northup believes that there is a connection between these two people based on evidence of Jews of the region around Masada during Roman times wearing braided hair and the similarities that the spokesperson contributes to Hebrew language. In explaining the connection, Beverly Baker Northup is quoted as saying, "The story has been kept alive among our Cherokee people that the SICARII who escaped from Masada are some of our ancestors who managed to cross the water to this land and later became known as Cherokees." That's what it's talking about. Northup claims that the famous scholar Josephus wrote that there were escapees from Masada, in which the spokesperson for the Northern Cherokee states that this is evidence that gives credence to the connection between the Cherokee Indians and the Jews. In addition to other startling claims, there is also the belief that by the Northern Cherokee that a rock that was uncovered in Tennessee in 1889 that is named the Bat Creek Stone, which you referenced earlier, proved a transatlantic connection to Jews. Northup believes that the scratch writings on the rock indicate that the stone is evidence of a first century Atlantic cross to America by these escaped Jews that later became known as the Northern Cherokee Indians. The Northern Cherokee attempted to gain full legislative recognition in the state of Missouri in 1985 that was eventually vetoed by Governor John Ashcroft. Governor Ashcroft made the following statement concerning the decision to veto the recognition of Northern Cherokee. The federal government has traditionally exercised authority with respect to Indian affairs. I am not persuaded that the state has such a substantial interest in this area that it should become involved in the recognition of Indian tribes. Sources among federally recognized Indian tribes have stated that Mr. Ashcroft's comments were 100% correct and should be referred to from time to time. Which who cares about what a white man says? The history of the Indians or the Cherokee said that SICARII came over here from Masada, came over here on boats because obviously we already knew about the boats. We knew about a foreign land, which is quote unquote our shrift. We knew about that back in King Solomon's time. We read 1 Kings 10. It talks about we were sending Navy over here to get goods with Hiram, which was Canaanites at that time. So by the time we escaped Assyria, the Northern Kingdom came over here because we already knew about this land. We already knew where to go to escape everything else and get away from heathens, things like that, to practice their customs, as it said in 2 Kings 13. So yeah, man, this is just an overboard onslaught of just archaeological proof, history, and facts, man, along with the Bible corresponding with everything and corroborating everything. So go ahead, Kashab. You can go into what you got about Masada and then everything else.
Con, let me try to see if my camera's working over here. I'll flip it to the other side. Okay, Con. So this is the book, right? Zealots of Masada, right? This is page 177, right? So this is the fortress of Masada, right? And I guess they're saying that they turned it into a house of worship, right? So they started digging in the house of worship on here. And it says, this is page 175, or 177, right? It says that excavations continued, and a treasured prize came to light beneath the zealot floor of the cubicle, a scroll, right? And it says, Yadin examined it where it lay before its removal, and he saw that it had not been flung there at random. It had been deliberately placed in this very position in which it was found, right? So right here it says, I don't know if y'all can read that. It says the ancient scrolls, particularly when first exposed at the atmosphere, after 1900 years, need to be handled with extreme care. The happy volunteer finders had to wait until their scroll was opened in their laboratory in Jerusalem before they found out that what they had discovered was the last two chapters of the Old Testament book of Deuteronomy. The text is almost identical with the Hebrew text of Deuteronomy read today in the synagogue. Right? So here's so that's the thing, man. So when people were talking about everything changed from way back then to here, the Zealots and Masada were reading text that was almost identical with the Hebrew text of today. Right? So it says, after this find, I then gave instructions that the entire floor of the cubicle be excavated to see if there were any more such scroll holes. Sure enough, another pit was found, its earth feeling different in texture from the surrounding earth and debris. It eventually had been tamped down. Beneath it lay the remains of another scroll, which turned out to be portions of the book of Ezekiel. Here, too, the text is almost the same as the modern Hebrew text of this Old Testament prophet. Right? Let me see.
Bring it out.
Here, here's this other one. This is page 185 on here. Right? It says, incidentally, one of the scrolls is similar to a Dead Sea Scroll found in the vicinity of the 1947 cave. So indirectly that Masada discoveries confirmed the antiquity of the Dead Sea Scrolls and put a final end to the minority objection. It should be recalled that Masada is less than 30 miles away to the south of Qumran, the site of the caves where the first Dead Sea Scrolls were found. Now to the Masada scrolls themselves, most of them were biblical. In addition to parts of Deuteronomy and Ezekiel found in the synagogue, there were two containing several chapters of Leviticus and two with chapters of the book of Psalms. Their texts are almost identical with the Hebrew biblical texts in use today. The differences are very minor. The Psalms of David, as recited in today's synagogues, are the same as those uttered by the Zealots in their synagogue, the same Hebrew words, the same sentence structure, the same beginning and end of each chapter. Right? It says, this may not seem odd to us now because we live in a world of books and printing where there is no printing, but there was no printing in those days. Everything was copied with all the possibilities for mistakes that hand copying entails. Right? It says, moreover, in those days too, there was no punctuation to the biblical text, no commas, no periods to denote the end of a sentence, no capital letters. This is true of modern Hebrew too, to indicate the beginning of sentences, and written Hebrew has no vowels. The Hebrew punctuation and vowel system was introduced only in the 8th century AD. Right. Let me see. Let me see. There's another one on here where it talks about them finding the book of.
Hold on. Read that last part again.
Let me see.
There's a powerful point that was just made.
Okay. So, see, hopefully y'all can read that. It says, moreover, in those days too, there was no punctuation to the biblical text, no commas, no periods to denote the end of a sentence, no capital letters. This is true of modern Hebrew too, to indicate the beginning of a sentence, and written Hebrew has no vowels.
The written Hebrew has no vowels. Read.
The Hebrew punctuation and vowel system was introduced only in the 8th century AD.
The Hebrew vowels and what does it say? What system?
That says the Hebrew punctuation and vowel system was
the Hebrew
introduced
punctuation
only.
and vowel system was introduced in the 8th century AD. What does that remind you of? The Masoretes adding those diacritic marks to try to pronounce it. Them devils that speak the modern Hebrew. Like I said, it's not our issue with the modern Hebrew, but that's not what we spoke. That's not biblical Hebrew. That's not it. But go ahead.
Let me see. It says, this is page 189, right? And it talks about the Jubilees book right here. It says, but more important, they found the pseudepigraph book of the Jubilees. Oh, so let me just read the sentence. It says, we now come to the outstanding non-biblical scroll found at Masada, more important than the depictograph Book of Jubilees. This was a book of the Apocrypha, a far higher up on the list of sacred books considered by the rabbis at Yavne. It may indeed, in modern parlance, have made the short list, failing only narrowly to be included in the Old Testament. This was Ecclesiasticus, not to be confused with the biblical book Ecclesiastes, and the portions discovered by the Yadin expedition were in the long-lost original Hebrew text. The book in Hebrew is known as the Wisdom of Ben Sirach. So this is a book of Sirach that they found in there too. And so that's pretty much the only things that I found so far in that one. Let me see. This is another one I got, right? This is the Mysteries of Ancient Americas. And it talks about, I think here is talking about the Aztecs in here, or most of the natives actually in general, right? So this one says, let me try to read this. It says in 1960, or 50, Salakia, in 1650, one answer was published, The Hope of Israel by Manasseh ben Israel, a rabbi in Amsterdam. He told of a Spanish Jewish traveler, Antonio de Montesinos, whose Indian guide on South African trip greeted him with Shema Israel, hear O Israel. All right, let me just grab that real fast. That's Deuteronomy 6:4. It says, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." Right, so it says that's how the Indians were greeting them, right? It says, furthermore, the guide reported that many people of the same origin were living in the highlands near Quito, Ecuador. Manasseh dedicated a volume of his work to the English Parliament in the hope that Jews would be readmitted to that land, right? Let me see. You see right on here. Hold on. So this one says, whether or not most observers were seeing what they wanted to see, or what a sincere faith gave them reason to hope to see, travelers in many parts of North and South America began to discover Old Testament customs and practice, ritual calendars, purification rites, circumcision, flood myths, sacrifice to gods, the veneration of a tribal ark. It says Native Americans were daily acting in ways that a European had previously encountered only in biblical stories about the earliest Jewish prophets and their families. Right, so they were doing a whole bunch of customs that we were doing. It says numerous parallels were put forth in a book written in the 8th century by James Adair, a trader in Indian territories for at least 40 years. The chants he heard among the Choctaw and the Chickasaw and their neighbors, he found the name Jehovah. According to Adair, the Indian phrase for dead or lost, Yelet Kanea, also meant gone to Canaan. And the word for winter, Korah, was borrowed unchanged from the Hebrew. He reported that when the Indians meet at night to gladden and unite their hearts before Yehovah, right, it says they sing over and over the Hebrew word for Messiah, right? But right here it's talking about Yehovah, man, Yahweh. He also saw Hebraic influence in the ritual oath of a witness before an Indian judge. It says, I have told you the naked truth, which I solemnly swear by the strong religious picture of an adorable, great, divine, self-existing name, which we are not to profane. And I likewise attest it by his other beloved, unspeakable, sacred, essential name. Hold on, let me try to get that. Can you still hear me right now? Yo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is Leviticus 19:12, right? And it says, "And ye shall not swear by my name falsely, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy God. I am Yahweh." Right? So they were even doing that. And then they had these pictures here, right? It says, Lord Kings Oboro was convinced that the Indians of Mexico were directly descended from the Israel's 10 lost tribes. As proof, he spent his fortune on reproducing volumes of Aztec codices that he claimed illustrated biblical events. Two reproduced here are said to be to represent the story of Adam and Eve, which would be this that they have on here. I don't know if you can see that, right? And it says, and a primordial deluge. which they're saying that this represents, right? The flood on here. Right. And this is the other thing that's dope that you were talking about, that they were saying that the Assyrians were white and stuff, right? Because
Yeah.
it's because too, right? She is talking about Quetzalcoatl here, and here they picture him like that. But check this out. It says, this is, however, a serious flaw in the theories of a white god as European. It is only after the Spanish conquest that Quetzalcoatl is depicted as having a white skin, and then only in accounts provided by the Spaniards themselves, right? In local Aztec art, he is usually depicted as a feathered serpent or as a human wearing a mask, or shown to have a black face, right? So here, I think they even have a, hold on. Yeah, right here. Right, so they have him here. These are like regular people, I guess. But this is Quetzalcoatl on here. Right. And it says, these are symbolic attributes. Black, for example, was a color associated with priests, right? It says the god soul link with the color white was equally symbolic. Quetzalcoatl was a personification of the planet Venus, right, as both the morning star and the evening star, right? But yeah, man, they even called him the morning star on there, just how the Bible calls him that, man.
Right.
I mean, those are just a couple things that I have on these two, at least.
That's powerful. Yeah. That's all you have?
Con, that's what I got.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm already finished with my presentation, but let me see.
Yeah, kind of.
If anybody has any questions, that'd be fine. We can go into questions now. All praise to the Most High, Dante. Yeah, we pretty much done with the information. Like I said, we can go into the Northern Kingdom artifacts as well. We brought out a couple, but I think we have a video on the history I did, but it was mainly just focused on mostly the Native Indians, things like that. But we can definitely get into the artifacts and the reference to them as well, maybe later on. We didn't really go into much of the Bible, but the evidence is there, the information is there, the history is there. Like I said, the Most High will always prove his point that the Bible is true, he's true, and he's gonna manifest everything he needs to make happen, prove our point. All praise to the Most High. I am Mexican native. All praise, brother. But yeah, everybody talks about Northern Kingdoms in Africa, Northern Kingdom, aren't the Hispanics and the Native Americans, but it's just too much information. Like, so we actually are gonna go into that. I don't know about next week, but I'm gonna put something together just for Northern Kingdom artifacts, history, things like that. Well, we went into some a little bit ago, but as far as the artifacts and the culture and the customs, we can go into more in depth in that as well. Lord willing, the officer Hezekiah can join because he got a lot of powerful historical evidence as well he wants to go into. But as of right now, we're taking questions for another 6 minutes, I guess, and then we gonna close out, Lord willing. But yeah, look out for the questions, Kashab.
Oh man. Listen, man, I urge a lot of y'all, man, go into these bookstores, man. Go into these used bookstores, man. Look, I got this one for $6, man. $6 and you get all that info, man. I can't remember how much this one was. I think this was only like $10 too, bro. Get you guys in some libraries, man, and some bookstores, bro. All this info's laying there, man. Nobody's looking for this stuff. No one thinks it's important, man. It was only $6. Yeah, man. Save the video, man. Like, share it, subscribe, man. But I'm telling you, man, these books in that bookstore I went to, man, they had like 10 copies of this one of the Zealots of Masada, man. Get you guys that book, man. That way, in case anything does happen in these videos, man, y'all got that info for yourselves, man. So that way you guys can show people, man.
Yeah, bro. All praises, Dante. See, man, let me see if I can show y'all this real quick. Let me show you. I'm just gonna put the camera over here real quick. Look at all them books.
That's right, man.
I got a whole collection, man. All that second row is all Northern Kingdom. And the bottom row is kind of like more archaeology, things like that. But yeah, man, I got a whole nother bookshelf on that side. You know, you can't see it, but there's a whole nother bookshelf on the other side of my couch. I need a new couch, by the way. If you haven't noticed, if you want to contribute, there's my Cash App on the bottom and the side.
So you're gonna throw your Cash App on it.
You know, my Cash App's there. But it's all good, man. But yeah, we here to edify the nation, give y'all some ammo, give y'all some information y'all learn from and grow from. But yeah, man, get these books before everything started, going crazy and haywire. You might want to get some books. The internet crash. What you gonna entertain yourself with? I mean, the Bible's, obviously everything you want to learn from, but there's definitely a lot of books out there, a lot of history. Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, Roman history, Egyptian history, all that type of stuff, historical information. I got to get more books on those type of people, but I definitely got a lot of books to go into and learn from. So y'all should follow suit. Y'all should definitely be ever learning, All praises, Dante. I'm glad you think it's the best episode. It's through the spirit, too. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I be coming up with stuff last minute, but sometimes I prepare, obviously, throughout the day. But this was kind of like, I came up with it like maybe a few hours before this live started. Let me just go into the history real quick and the archaeology. So, and like I said, it always works in the spirit.
Come on, man. Even I got to go back and look at some of those stuff you brought up, bro. That's powerful.
All praise to the Most High, man. Everything's like I said, this ain't even a third of it, honestly. Like I said, once you start going to Northern Kingdom stuff, like I said, I didn't even go into all the artifacts that was on that list. I probably went into like 4 or 5 of them. But yeah, man, everything's there. There's so much stuff I can go into. Like I said, I got to go into the tribes, eventually prove the tribes one by one, all that type of stuff. We gonna go into all that late night love style. You feel me? Like and share the video. That's important. But yeah, if nobody else got no questions, we're gonna close out in like a minute or so. I don't see any questions, so there's a lot of people watching. Well, 22 people watching, which is perfectly fine. But I don't see any questions. I didn't really go into the Bible, so that may be the other thing. But we definitely correspond to everything we run into with the biblical information. That's damn right, Dante. Like I said, one of them sources was from a Mormon website, so they can be considered Christian if you want to call it that. They Edomites, but like I said, you can't deny history. Yeah, we need to native. Like I said, it's easier said than done, and the Most High not going to allow it for most people. But the people that's in the truth, the people that know what's going on, the people that want to reconcile and come back as a nation, not no retard Latino or Negro only bug outs. Like they can fight amongst themselves and try to scoff and hate, but the Israelites is scattered abroad. The Israelites is in America for the most part. Black, Hispanic, Native American. Obviously, we can look like any nation, but for the most part in this land, we gotta inquire and ask people what's going on, because obviously the spirit bears witness for the most part, but the heritage is obviously important as well, and the patrilineage, how we use it in our culture is important. So we're not gonna stop fighting to the kingdom. I ain't gonna lie to you. 2/3 gonna die in America, fighting in the race wars, fighting the prophets, killing the prophets, just like days of old. So yeah, I'll give y'all about 2.5 more minutes since y'all typing a little bit. All praises, Dante. The Most High is definitely incredible and powerful, man. Every day, like I said, not just information, just everyday life. You just know, like, man, Most High, most early got us under his wings. Protecting us, making sure everything's straight, no matter what hardships. Hey, I got faith through it all. And like I said, the information just empowers you that much more. To share this information and bring people in the fold. But yeah, like and share the video before you go. We want to get more viewership for this particular segment of the channel. So obviously it's mostly just camp videos, but we definitely want to go live at least once a week, Thursdays when I'm free. And it's edify. Going once, going twice. No questions, no questions. You got a minute left. All praises to the Most High, Native. I'm glad you came. Like I said, we just review the information. There's other, like I said, sessions that we did. This 11th installment. The 12th one, we got to make the 12th one powerful. Represent the 12 tribes. I'm gonna have to come up with something powerful next week to represent the 12th rendition of this late night love thing. Con Dante is ammo for sure. I don't know about the atheists, because atheists, probably gonna touch on the Bible more, but the archaeology definitely is a booster to the Bible. The water, Dante, the water, man. But yeah, we're gonna close out in a second. Give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shem Mashiach Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom to all the Akim and Aquathium that tuned in, that's gonna tune in the future. So all praise to the Most High. Y'all be safe, man. And Shabbat's over tonight, but yeah, Shabbat Shalom to brothers that kept the lunar Sabbath this Wednesday night, just the Thursday night.
Shalom.
Oh, Garincha, Slagia. Could you elaborate on the Southern Kingdom? I mean, that's a general question. What do you mean?
I mean, the ones in Masada was Southern Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, that's not his question, but he just, or is that a she? I don't know. Garincha? I don't know. Elaborate on what though? Like what? There's plenty of things that can go into in Southern Kingdom. Salaki, hold on. How did the Southern Kingdom went to West Africa? Very simple. Give me that in Jeremiah. The shop, you know what I'm talking about?
Nah, I'm not sure which one you're talking about.
Jeremiah 17.
Oh, 17.
18 and 17. 18 and 17.
Con. So this is Jeremiah 18:17. I will scatter them as with an east wind before the enemy. I will show them the back and not the face in the day of their calamity.
Exactly. So Jeremiah was obviously in the Babylonian captivity. He's referencing what the Jews are going to be scattered with an east wind. So if we're talking about where they were at the time, they're in the eastern hemisphere. And if they're blowing, quote unquote, with an east wind, the east wind blows west. West is what? Western from where they're at. So starting from there, it goes from what? Egypt into East Africa into Central Africa into West Africa. So we know for a fact that there was a kingdom. Let me just pull it up actually. Let me go. Oh, here it is. Okay. Everybody wants to deny Israelites were in West Africa. Well, let's go here. Let's just go to the pictures. Where are we at? Here we go. Let me share my screen. What does this say here? Gold Coast, Slave Coast, Ouida, Judah. Why is this here? This is from what? The 1600s, 1700s? What does it say? Negro land. Negro land. Isn't that interesting? Let me get a better picture. I need a better picture than that. Negro land, Guinea, Gold Coast, Slave Coast. This is basically where it's talking about, but this is where the Jews were at, all throughout West Africa and Central Africa. But this is the main part where they were taken from. That's just simple information, man. How did they get to West Africa? They traveled there over the course of 400, 500, 600 years. You know? Matter of fact, let me get something else. Let's see. Let's see what this says. Oops, what the hell? Is Garentia still in here? They ain't responding right now, but let's just go to the Kingdom of Carthage. See what this says. Kingdom of Carthage. Carthage was an ancient city in modern Tunisia. The city developed from a Phoenician colony into one of the most affluent cities of the classical world and the capital of Carthaginian Empire, which dominated parts of the southern Mediterranean during the first millennia BC. The first century, that's when it was quote unquote established. But let's read this part. Who were the Carthaginians ethnically? We know it was a mixed multitude there. Although the Carthaginians were a mixed population, the Carthaginian military was dominated by Numidians, which was a mixture of black Africans. I don't know why it says black Africans. That's interesting, isn't it? Nubians, and Berber extract that lived among the Carthaginians who were prevalent in Egypt, Morocco, Algeria, and elsewhere found in North Africa. So, founded in 814 BC. I'm not sure about that, but that's a long time ago. That was that was around time that that's before Assyria took over. So I don't know if that's the truth, but either way, when we got scattered after the Romans took over, this is where we were. Damn, I don't have it on me. Let me see. Fuck. I don't know if I have this on me right here. I got some information. Let me double check. Don't mind me eating. This information got me hungry. Let me see something. I got some information that I was working on about Carthage and all that stuff. Let me see. Damn, is this it? It's part of the tribes. Let me see if I can find this real quick. So, let me see. Like this, I got some history on Carthage. Oh no, this ain't it. Okay, this ain't it. I did some information on the tribes. Let me see if I can find it because it's going to correlate to the Carthage information that I'm trying to bring out. Slovakia. Let me see. What does it say? So we already know Israelites were in Egypt, right? They were also in Morocco. They're also in North Africa. Let me bring this out. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me read this over real quick. No, that's not it. Man, I could have swore I had this in my computer. Hold on real quick. Salakia. Is anybody saying anything? Oh, right there. Shalom, Taz. Well, yeah, the new moon's probably in the... Nah, the new moon's not in Jerusalem right now. It's been over. They ahead of us. New moon's already been over with. But, sorry, let me find this. I don't think this is it, but let me just review it real quick. But I got to go into the tribes again. Don't mind me. I'm looking some stuff up, Salakia. I don't know, my computer's lagging so much. Here we go. Let me see. Okay, let me share this real quick. This is just my notes. Here you go. I knew I had it somewhere. Man, I don't even want to get this away. I ain't gonna lie to you. I might not show this. It's my personal archives. Hold on, let me just read it for you. Excuse me. Let's just read this. I'm just gonna read it for you. The source is, I'm gonna give you the source. Hebrewisms of West Africa by Joseph J. Williams. Vanished Glories of the North, page 189. It is not surprising then to find Nahum's Slosh claiming there are indications in the Bible as well as in the works of ancient writers and in Phoenician inscriptions discovered from time to time that numerous Hebrew settlers or slaves followed the Phoenicians in the excursions across the Mediterranean. And again, inscriptions indicate that certain tribes of Asher and Zebulun lived in Carthage ever since the foundation of the city. And finally, we have seen that in all probability there were in Carthage and its dependencies large number of Jews who followed the Phoenicians into Africa. In this local tradition, it is in agreement with certain historical indications, while the manners and customs of the Jews of Tunis, which is what's Tunis? Tunisia, still give evidence of their ancient origin. There is not the slightest doubt that the Jew has persisted in these parts from the Roman epoch to our own times. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. That is a cut. Garincha, that's the information right there. Historically, the Jews followed the Phoenicians after we got scattered by the Romans. That's how it works. The information's right there. I knew it was one of my tribal breakdowns, but I'm going to say the information for later. I ain't going to go into everything, but like I said, I already got some stuff on the tribes, but I'm gonna say that for another lesson. But we've been on for quite some time. I'm hungry. I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna be up for a few more hours, but I've been on for 2.5 hours with y'all. So, you got anything to say, Kashab?
Well, I mean, you could also even simply going into some of those tribes' names and stuff. Even they still have Hebrew names. I think Chief brought out that, what is it, the Damak people, like the blood brother people. Mm-hmm. Even just the same thing how I went into the Aztecs having those same customs. Most of those tribes still hold those same customs, those same traditions as we did back in Israel. And we know they like the Hamites wasn't practicing the same customs as us. Even like circumcision, they weren't doing none of that stuff. That's what we were doing to be separate. I mean,
exactly.
So, yeah,
definitely, I agree. It's very important. I mean, the reason why the Northern Kingdom has more full history because they were by themselves for longer. They were in the Americas by themselves for literally like over 700 years. So that's why their history is more intact as far as just the archaeology as well as any artifact, or not archaeology, but manuscripts. Even though they destroyed most of the stuff, they literally destroyed a lot of Jews' history as well when they was in the Iberian Peninsula, things like that, Morocco, and what's the people they call? Basically southern Spain. They talking about what's the word I'm looking for? You know what I'm talking about, Kashab. The people that we say are Israelites in Spain. What are they called?
Damn, nah, I can't think of it.
This guy's terrible. No, I'm joking. But yeah, the Southern Kingdom history is, like I said, is muddled in with the West African history. As far as that's why we got to do the research on the West African tribes. Even though we have quite a scale, we do have a West African tribe chart of the tribes that we believe are Israelites through the history. And like I said, we can go into that too. Trust me, I have some information on some Southern Kingdom tribes that's in West Africa that had ephods, that were ephods and priests and things like that. It's all there. Trust me, it's definitely all there. It's gonna take a little more digging, but it's definitely something we can go into.
For sure, gonna take more digging.
Later on, I've been on 2.5 hours. I'm about to eat and chill out. I'm going to go into it later on though. We're gonna do Northern Kingdom history, Southern Kingdom history, all that type of stuff. Trust me. What was you saying?
So like it's just even like that thing you brought up, the Necropolis thing, right? Or I forget what it was called. About how they said that they took the bodies on
Acropolis. Mm-hmm.
Exactly, like how they took the bodies and now using DNA, right? They use the whole the Jewish people DNA on there when they could be using those bodies, right, to see what DNA that brings back. But that's the thing. They hide it way more because it's over there. You know what I mean?
Exactly. They don't want to know. They don't have to have information come out. They only going to use Jewish people, which is like 100 people per capita, not per capita, but per DNA. They going to base around the people that's already there right now, not ancient Israelites. That's what Hezekiah always brings up. They have laws where when they excavate the body, they don't even try to they don't put a DNA test to it. They just hurry up and hide it and then put it away so nobody gets to test it. But anyways, that's all I had. Like I said, we're gonna close out finally. Garincha, like I said, stay tuned to the channel. We're gonna definitely do something once a week, every Thursday. Go into the history a little bit more. Obviously, it's all about the Israelites. So anything, current events, news, archaeology, biblical history, all that type of stuff we're gonna discuss. If you have other questions, like I said, go ahead and tune in next week. Like I said, we're gonna try to answer them, improve our point, improve the obviously the history of the Southern Kingdom as well. So everything's there. So like I said, the other side of my couch has the Southern Kingdom information. The bookshelf I just showed you right here, that's mostly all Northern Kingdom and some biblical history stuff. And on the other side over there, all Southern Kingdom books, West African books, things like that. So trust me, I got ammo, But we're gonna close it, like I said, give up the water, we'll give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Mashiach Yahushai, and say shalom, man.
Shalom.